Hello, Steve Mills here, and I'm here on my Success in Table Tennis podcast. Great to be back. I'm just here on my own today, not interviewing anybody on this occasion, but those of you who were eagle-eyed will notice that the picture of the two people on the front of this podcast are, number one, Desmond Douglas. Des was on the podcast a little while ago and gave a great interview with lots of great tips and ideas. And the other one was a gentleman called Alan Hydes. Now, Alan was a huge influence in my career. I think he played something like 250 times for England. And when I was a younger man, really, Alan sort of got towards the end of his career as I sort of got good. But he was very kind and gave up many hours of his time to practice. And my point being that it's really important, I think, if you're an up-and-coming table tennis player or anybody who really wants to get to the next level, to spend time around people who are better than you. Now, I know you probably think, well, that's fairly blooming obvious, Steve, but it's also sometimes difficult to do, and other times we just don't really do that. You know, we stay in our own world, in our own town, practicing with local people, with the people we've always practiced with. And certainly for me, I came up through I was through the different levels, and in a way, I was a bit of a mercenary, I suppose. You know, once I got past people, and I got, I was better than they were. To be honest, often I didn't want to practice with them anymore. Now, not because I didn't like them, not because I was big-headed, but purely because I wanted to practice with the best people I could. So I practiced for hours and hours and hours with Alan, and he taught me lots of stuff just by playing against him, but also, just the odd little word, the odd little bit of advice, I'll never be able to thank him enough for that. So my question to you is, who is there in your world that you need to go and be a regular partner against? Who could you play against? Who are the best players in your area or not in your area? I used to travel over from Sheffield to Manchester probably about 4 days a week to practice with, several players over there who are in the top 10 in England. Nigel Eckersley, John Hilton, who became European champion, a guy called Dave Constance, again, top 12 player, and so on and so forth. So, it was about putting the effort in. We're talking about, a 3-hour journey there and back every single day, practicing from 9 through until 5. And those of you who are thinking, well, that's easy for him because he was a full-time professional, I do understand that. But I'd also say, just following on from the conversation with Des, that certainly in my day, all the players who were in the top 10 in England were all full-time professionals. And there were definitely players who were capable of being in the top 10 in England, but because they didn't play full-time, they never managed to get to that level. They were nearly there, but they couldn't quite get to that level because they didn't practice all day, every day. And so, that's another important thing. So I suppose my two pieces of advice are: get around the best people you can and get to practice with the best players you can. Ideally, you want to be the worst player in the room. And the other one, practice more. Spend more time. How much time do you spend practicing serve? In the world of tennis, people like Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and so on and so forth, spend hours and hours and hours practicing their serve, hours and hours and hours practicing the return of serve. How much time do you take? I look back on my time, my biggest weakness, without any shadow of a doubt, was my return of serve. And I didn't focus on it enough. I didn't know, and as you get older, you start to learn things, and you have, I suppose, regrets, really. If only I'd done this, then I would have been a better player. And if you speak to any and every player who's a little bit older, then you'll probably get the same response. So that's about it. I hope that's of value to you. Take action, and I wish you every success in your table tennis career. Thanks very much for listening.